If you're doing $3 million, find your niche and stay in your lane.
Consistency pays off when it comes to any kind of content.
Well, why would you sell them any cheaper? Don't cut your own throat. Sell it at the same exact price.
600, yeah, it'd be around 1,000.
How successful are you going to be?
This is Roofer2Roofer. This is your opportunity to ask Scott and myself questions about the roofing industry, about the roofing business. And you got Scott's perspective as the owner of Rainstoppers Roofing and STR Consulting, and then my experience on the tech side with CEO of ProLine. So if you guys have questions for us, we'd love to answer your questions. Please put those into the Q&A at the bottom of Zoom or into the chat, and we will answer your questions. Otherwise, we just have our own questions that we've pre-written that we'll go through. So we'll probably start with one of ours here. Let me get those pulled up. The question is, as a roofing contractor, how do I deal with seasonality in the business in order to make sure the business stays solid and stable throughout the whole year?
Yeah. I used to look at it as like a kind of the curse of the business, especially living, in the northern part of the country. Always looked at it as like, okay, how do I fix this problem of not being busy 3 months a year?
Yeah.
I have learned it's actually a blessing, not a curse. Most businesses, and even roofing businesses like in South Florida or South Texas, they don't really see a slow time. So there's no break. For us, getting that break to me is actually like it's helpful. Especially being, I think if you were a really seasoned business owner and you really had a well-oiled machine, maybe not so much, but us guys learning and growing as we go, that little bit of downtime, take full advantage of it, prepare for it. That's a big thing that most people don't do. They don't prepare. They don't hoard some cash and keep a savings build up for that downtime, but appreciate that downtime. Take a vacation, come back from that vacation, put your nose to the grindstone, really understand where you missed this past year, what you can do to fix that, implement new software, new technology, new systems and processes in your sales process or your production process. You've got all that time to really take what you've been thinking about all year and all the mistakes that you've made, and you've got time to fix all that and start the new season with a clean slate with all these new procedures that are ready to go. New softwares like a CRM, how miserable would it be to try to change a CRM that you run your business out of, you know, when you're banging away? It's much easier to do that when it's not as fast, or even some tools that are software type of tools. We're implementing one today. This will be the last thing we really implement this off season. Elivo, an AI software that we're going to implement, and it kicked off today. So after that, we're going to probably slow down on new features, new softwares until next time it cools down and we're not so busy. So again, yeah, I think it's a blessing. Take that time and utilize it.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I think we are as as a CRM, we have the opposite season. So it's exact opposite of our customers. So we're insanely busy during the wintertime, which is one thing I will say. If you want a lot of special one-on-one attention from a provider, you will get a lot more special one-on-one attention during the summertime because they're slow. However, if you are going to do it during the off season, you have a lot more time, which it's gonna, I admit that is probably the better time since it's, most of the work is gonna fall on the company, not the software. However, that's one thing you got to keep in mind is like you are one of hundreds, thousands of contractors that are all trying to adopt things at the same time. So software providers are stretched a lot more thin during like the busy periods. So that is one caveat, but yes, in general, but I feel the same way about us. It's like we're now starting to, our users are using our software very heavily, but we are from us like a sales and onboarding perspective starting to slow down a little bit, which, allows me to take a little bit of time for myself as CEO. And then, our team gets to take a little bit of a breather, which is good. So, um, but yeah, it's like, it sucks early on when all you care about is just making money. But if you prepare for it, it's such a blessing to be able to take a breather.
We this year was our first year of not like truly our first year of saying we're not chasing a dollar this year, this winter. Um, we still work, like we still have roofs that we can do. We still get 45, 50-degree days in January. We still get those days where we can go do a job here and there. And we still do them. But like we weren't taking on, I know, and we've done it in the past, taking on building a pole building for somebody because you can build a pole building in the middle. Like, why? You don't ever make any money doing it. You think you're going to, but you're not going to. And even the little bit of money you do make, how much more productive could you have gotten your business for the next busy season? And how much more prepared could you be in that same amount of time? Like you could really, really get your shit together. I swear this winter wasn't long enough. Like I still feel like I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done, and we didn't even chase any outside jobs. We just did what was on, our standard work. And I still feel like we didn't get everything totally done. We got really close, but yeah, we prepared for it though. We were ready. We were ready for that expense.
Yep. Let me see. So for those that have joined us, this is Roofer to Roofer. We are here to answer your questions about the roofing industry and roofing business. We got Scott under Brainstoppers Roofing and STR Consulting, and then I'm CEO of ProLine. So we'd love to hear from you. Put your questions in there. We'll definitely prioritize answering your questions. But if we don't have questions from you guys, we're gonna answer the ones that we already have pre-written. So let's move on to another one of those. Question here. As a roofing contractor, should I specialize in a single type of roofing material or technique, or should I offer a variety to our customers? For example, working only with metal roofing or only with tile or only with asphalt.
I don't believe it's it's a great business model to niche down too far. Like find your niche and stay in your lane. I believe in that. I'm all for it. But I believe you can niche down too far. Like if you're a car salesman, but you only sell cars that are front wheel drive and they're blue, how successful are you going to be? Right? Like there's only so many people want a blue front wheel drive. I think I know guys that only sell metal. I know guys that only sell shingles, and they really limit themselves. We don't like selling metal. We like that's not really something we push. Um, but we need to offer that as a service because we do have clients that want it. But even more so, we want to be very well versed in that product as well, so we can educate our customer on what we recommend. And if we don't offer it, how can we even deny the recommendation? We don't do it. No shit, you don't recommend it, right? No, we do it. We do it just the same. We'll do just as many. We don't care. We make the same profit. We do them in the same amount of time. It's all good. We just believe that this other system's a little better. And so that's why we, try to push people in that direction. If you don't offer it as a service, it's kind of hard to legitimize yourself on, your recommendation. So
Yeah.
I think you can niche down too far. And I think roofing alone, I don't do tile. We don't do tile or slate. That's two things we don't do. But we do everything else. We do EPDM, TPO, shingles, metal, staining seam. You um, yeah, I think that it'd be niched down too far if you were going just one singular installation process.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense. I think part when it comes to niching down, you have to keep in mind how your target customer thinks about it. And unless they're very highly educated, most people, regardless of whether it's a commercial building, residential building, most of the time when they're thinking I need a roofer, they're just going to think I need a roofer. They don't really think in their minds I need this specific type of roofer.
Right.
I and I think there's exceptions to that, especially I think on the commercial side is that's most common is you have like highly educated property managers. They're like, no, I need a commercial roofer that has these licenses and stuff. So that those situations come up. But yeah, no, I think that's the way you got to think about niching is for your market, because I think it is different market to market. But in your market, think about how do my customers think about roofing? Do they differentiate it into different categories in their minds? Or do they just think you got to put yourself in your customer's shoes and think when they have a leak, what are they going to think? Are they going to think that I need a roofer? Are they going to think I need an X roofer? Because, maybe in some markets I have seen like there's some markets in Florida and I think maybe Arizona where like tile is super common and maybe there is like enough that people that have tile on their roof know they need to find a tile roofer. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't really know those markets that well, but I've heard because I've seen more companies specializing there. So I feel like that might be like one of those exceptions.
Sure. I agree. I agree 100%. That's an accurate statement. But even a lot of the tile guys I know in Arizona they still sell a shingle roof.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not everybody has the budget for a tile option, and if you can do tile, you can definitely do shingles. So
Yeah.
it's a more budget friendly option to, still sell that customer a good quality roof. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Locality could change that, but most parts of the country, there's at least two or three options that are viable options.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like the key is to really know your market then and
Yeah.
like default to not niching down beyond just roofing. I think there's a lot of people that mess up the other way. They're like, "Oh, I need to do roofing, I need to do, renovations, kitchens."
That's
I think
typically the issue. That was my issue,
yeah, I think
right?
it's more common. Yeah.
We started a roofing business from a home building business. So, I mean, we did full renovations, additions, and new construction, and ended up dialing into a roofing business and work half as hard and make twice as much, actually like 10 times as much money. We didn't make shit when we were building houses. So, yeah, I mean, usually people go the other direction, and the other direction is a much more difficult path. Um, I just think that you leave some opportunity on the table if you niche down too far.
Give me one second. You need to come look at this. It really does not want me to work here. All right. Yes. Oh, 100%. I think you gotta know your market and know because I do think that there is some markets where you got to go maybe a little wider. So I think especially I've seen some rural markets where it's you really to have a great business, you need to do roofs, siding, you need to extend into some other exteriors because especially in like a smaller market, I think people don't might think about it a little bit differently. So they're just like, I need someone to work on the outside of my home.
Sure.
So I think there can be some. I think it's like market to market, and you got to figure out how your market views, like when they're your target market, how are they grouping contractors in their mind? Because that's going to be the most important thing, I think, for deciding that.
I agree.
Um, all right, guys. We'd love to answer your all's questions. So if you have questions, put those in the Q&A at the bottom of Zoom or the chat. All right, check that one off. Did that one last week. Um, as a roofing contractor, should I carry inventory of any materials?
Funny question because we're actually getting ready to place another order with Van Boxel. So, um, not necessarily. I think that it takes the right company. I think that there was a point when we should not have carried inventory. We weren't doing enough volume to make it make sense to have that overhead sitting in a warehouse. Um, Fortunately, years ago, I bought a nice building with a warehouse and things, and have the space. So, space is huge. When we buy a truckload, it's 22 skids of material. So it's a lot of stuff. We basically take up about a 30 by 40 space with a truckload of material. Um, Boy, the price is right. I mean, you talk about saving money. We've done the math. We took a bunch of jobs. We averaged the material usage per job. It was 20 projects that we took, and we averaged all of them together and what we used. And what we buy at ABC versus what we buy in bulk, we would save on average $600 per project cost, not markup, nothing. True cost, we save $600 per job. So we have a process with our subs and with our sales reps of how to disperse that material that's working very well. It took some time to dial in, but now we've got it working very well. Um, and yes, I mean, if you can afford it, I mean, the truckload was $60,000. So this is not like a small bill, and you're not going to burn that. It's taken us, we bought it in the middle of winter for tax reasons. We bought it in December for a write off, but we'll probably still be another month burning that material up, another 3 weeks burning that material up. So you're sitting on $60,000 worth of material for a significant amount of time, and it's in the road. So you better have the room to store it. If you have the room and you have the cash, absolutely. If you don't have those two things, don't try it. It's just not. It's too much of a headache. It's too much of a pain to deal with. But if you have those two things, there's a huge opportunity for savings to store material.
How do you then manage that inventory? How are you guys tracking it?
So I don't even want to say we're really good at tracking it. We're really good at dispersing it. So um, Josh, one of my sales reps, texted me today and said, "Hey, we're starting to run low on coil nails and something else, starter strip." I bought this first truckload off assumption, because you got to stack that truck. Certainly, it has to be 22 skids. Doesn't matter how you do it, just 22 total skids to get the best price.
Yeah.
So I did the best I could at trying to kind of like, manipulate it to where it worked out. We ran out of everything near the same time. We're finding that there was a couple things we were a little heavy on and a couple things we were a little light on. So now we're looking at it now that we're starting to get light on a couple things. Now we're reevaluating, okay, when we make this next order, let's pick it up on this, on nails. For one, nails, we're almost out of nails and we still have three or four full skids of felt. So, and the reason being is because we can't use that felt on a manufacturer backed warranty. We can use nails on every single job. So I didn't take that into account completely when I did the first order. So now some of this material I have excess of, some of this material I don't have enough of. So I don't want to say we're good at like tracking inventory. We just kind of keep an eye on it. And then as we see something get low, then we reevaluate how we are going to make that next order. That's my job tomorrow, is to figure out what the next order is going to look like, and what we're going to place on that order.
Yeah, that's definitely super interesting. What would you tell a contractor that's say in like the $3 million annual revenue mark? Would you still recommend buying that stuff in bulk?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much opportunity for savings. $600 in you can do the math, AJ. I don't know the math. What, with 35% margin, what is that? $1,000 a job
Well,
with
you're saving $600 on cost.
on cost.
Yeah,
But you also have margin in that. You would put margin on top of that cost, because you don't have to pass
yeah,
that price to your customer, because you're still selling them generic say ABC Pro Guard felt
Hmm.
or ABC nails, my job cost is $600 cheaper. But I sold that job at that 600 bucks plus margin, which I
Uh,
think does that put you close to a grand, I think.
If you, yeah, something like that. 33% margin on 600. Yeah, it'd be around 1,000. But yeah, ideally you would have the accurate cost in ProLine, I think, like in the CRM, and
We
then you
have
would
two
just build.
quotes. We have two quote templates, one with bulk pricing, one without.
Yeah,
If we have to get really competitive to sell a job,
you'll go
we'll
full
use
pricing.
quote in the bulk pricing and pass that discounted material cost on to our customer. We can do that.
Yeah,
Our standard template that we use has the generic materials, felt,
show
ice and water
cost.
starter. It has those costs in it, not the bulk discounted price. So we make that additional roughly $1,000 average per project
Yeah.
if we use that quote template.
And then
So
you're just correcting it in the budgets later, like
correct.
correcting the cost. Yeah. The have you considered just using the bulk pricing for your quoting and then having just a higher margin across the
We could do that too. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean we could do that too. The problem is I don't
You like
for me
being able to
like
kind of
no, I've got guys up in Morgantown that are running the same using the same quote templates, but we don't give them
got it. Yeah, no,
they
that
don't we're
makes
not
sense.
running bulk material up there yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have reasons to kind of finagle it the way we do inside of our own system. But
Yeah. So for
um
multiple locations.
correct. So I could set obviously I could go in and set up quote templates per location and do all that stuff. This just works for us. It's been easy enough to kind of manipulate and make it work well. My point is if you're doing 3 million bucks, you're probably averaging at least I'd say you're doing a job a day at $3 million. If you're doing a job a day and say you sold them at the same exact price, why would you sell them any cheaper? You're already selling $3 million a day or $3 million a year worth of business. Don't cut your own throat. Sell it at the same exact price. Put that money in your pocket for storing it, for paying up front for all the material. You should get paid for that. That doesn't mean you have to give that customer a discount because you got a discount. That means you went out on a limb, spent money, took the time to inventory it, took the time to offload it, but you could make, potentially upward toward $1,000 additional per job on average.
Yep. Yep. Makes
If
sense.
you're saving money, you're making money. Like that's the fact is anything you can save, not to cut corners, but if anything you save after you've bid the job, whatever's saved from that point on that you have earned the saving of is 100% profit. That's all profit.
Yep. Yep. Totally makes sense. The Yeah, we're gonna need to at some point with ProLine build in some inventory tracking. We've had requests for that for in the past. I mean, do you think that would be helpful with this? Like if you could track inventory and actually know how many boxes of nails you had left, how many you know, how many rolls of felt and have that be in the system tracked. And like when you're building jobs, it's like deducting from the inventory.
We wouldn't use it.
You wouldn't use it. It's just not work. This is not
It's
needed.
more that no, you see stuff start running low.
You just place
You
another
better
order.
Van Boxel's in Cleveland. They're 2.5 hours from me. I
Yeah,
can literally just drive up there and pick up 4 skids if I
if
want to.
it's needed.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
yeah,
I can call them for a truckload of material and get it next week. Like
yeah,
this isn't like and no, I don't even want to say that. They'll do that nationwide. Like their delivery time is super fast. So it's like you see something start running low. Worst case scenario, you got to supply a couple jobs with ABC's material.
yeah. It's like it's not like it's not like it's super risky that you run out of material. You just order from ABC.
No, and yeah, right, exactly. It's not like you're out.
Yeah,
And I trust my people enough that it's not. I think that's the only factor that plays into this is trust that, there is all this brand new material sitting there that they could use on a personal project or sell to their, but I don't know. if you don't trust your guys enough to handle roofing material, you
Yeah,
got other
bigger problems.
issues,
Yeah.
a lot bigger issues.
Yep. We got a very important question here from John Starry. Not an anonymous question today. This is you're just go putting your name on it today, John. John asked, I like that sweatshirt. Does that say GAF Master Elite on the sleeve?
He's a cocksucker.
No, that's an Owens Corning shirt,
This
isn't it?
is an Owens Corning shirt that I've had for God, I've probably had this thing for like 5 years. They used to send that was one good. I will say Owens Corning is pretty here's the deal. Owens Corning rebates program sucks because they don't give you cash. They just give you dollars for their store, which is
Oh,
kind of cool because you get all kinds of sweet merch. Like like I've got Carhartt coats and I've got all kinds of Owens Corning golf stuff.
yeah.
I just want cash. I don't really want like I'll wear this, but now GAF on the other hand, I've been bitching at my sale at my rep for like 2 years. And I like send him selfies of me wearing this jacket and a couple other ones I've got. Hey, I really need some GAF stuff. He never gives it to me. But by God, they send me one hell of a check once a year for rebates. So
Yeah.
I'd much rather have the check.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
makes sense. All right. Well, we'd love to answer any more questions from you guys if you have them. Please put those in the Q&A or into the chat. But we'll do another one of ours in the meantime.
that guy always finds something. He always finds something.
John, sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, I love it. I love it. All right. How, what challenges come up when roofing historical buildings?
Oh man, I live in Marietta, Ohio. This is like the named after Marie Antoinette. So that's like the first settler of Ohio. So this is all historical society, but
Hmm.
um,
Am I frozen
for us,
right
it's
now for you?
what?
I'm like moving my head back and forth. Am I frozen?
No, I see you.
No, I don't know. My Zoom keeps freezing. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, we don't run into a ton of issues. Usually, we've got to deal with a historical society department, get the proper permitting. They have to approve the material. There's not a whole lot of issues. The biggest issue is usually the material that's there and what's beneath it. So for us, what we're dealing with all the time is slate tear off. So if you've never tore off slate before, it sucks. It's sharp. It'll cut you. It's heavy. It's dirty. Like it is filthy. You tear off a slate roof, you are black from the dust and stuff that just covers you during the tear off. Um, and when it hits the ground, it's like a grenade goes off. So it just explodes into little shards of rock. Um, and then beneath it is usually a really unstable deck to install like new shingles on. So almost every time we get into one of those, it's almost guaranteed it's a full resheet. So it's not really a level of difficulty as it is just it's a more expensive roof because you're probably resheeting the whole thing and you're having a filthy tear off that's really heavy. And yeah, but other than that, there's not much difficulty to it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's good. Okay. We got a question here from John. What sales training programs do you guys recommend for sales teams and owners?
We were just talking about this, so I probably asked. So, um, anyway, yeah. So I actually signed up for Top Reps free thing on their Facebook. So you go to their Facebook, they've got like a link, you sign up, and I mean they just send you daily emails of stuff. And I know that's generic, but man, they send some really quality information just being on their newsletter that I think super valuable. I read it every day that whatever they send out. Um, I know John just went to one. he could drop it in the chat because I forget the freaking guy's name, but um, he said it was really insightful. I follow a few people on Facebook that I think have some really, really great sales advice. John Broche is one of them. I think he's a really, really smart dude. Um, he's been there and done it, and multiple times, not just one company, but multiple with huge success. So um, that guy right there's got it going on. I think Top Rep and him would be my two picks.
Yeah. We don't Top Rep is going to be my recommendation. They're the main ones I'm familiar with from a training perspective. But and then John just added in Rodney Webb. Chuck though
Yeah.
he is top rep. That's what you were just saying was Rodney Webb.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just got back from that and said it was fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no one else really that I would off the top of my head. Maybe yeah, that's gonna be the main two that I've heard of. I don't have a ton of experience with this, so but yeah, that's I'll back y'all up on that. Um, cool. All righty. On to the next question here. We got another about 10 minutes left. So if you guys got questions for us, please put those into the Q&A or into the chat and we'll answer those. Probably time for like 2, 3 more questions. Um, let me get another question from our list here. How important is local SEO for getting leads?
It's our number two lead source, so it's pretty damn important for us. Um, Number one has been referrals. Number two has been SEO. That's year in, year out. It's been the same. What we found too is with SEO. Now, I'm in a smaller market, like a lot of smaller markets. Um, if you're in a big market, I think there's other strategies that can work well. I think you still need to work local SEO for sure and do at least this because it's got us ranking number one in two areas, number two in one area. Um, the basics, posting to your Google profile every day, just a post like here's a roof we completed in Marietta, Ohio, put some keywords in there, whatever. Add photos to the GBP on a daily basis. Grab a couple photos out of company cam, throw in there. Um, Always respond to your Google reviews. Make sure you're using ProLine and the review request in ProLine. It's fantastic. We get a boatload of reviews because of it, but you got to respond to them. If you leave them unresponded, honestly, you're just wasting a good review. It doesn't do you as good by just leaving it blank. If you just do those few things, that has made us in those three markets, we've done virtually nothing through like our website for optimization. I mean, our website is clean and pretty, but it's very basic. There's not like a bunch of back end um, optimization done. We've just never done it because we didn't really need to. Just doing the basics have worked for us. But even if you're in a big market and you're just trying to get a foothold and get ranking, top 10 or whatever, just doing the basics on a consistent basis is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah. um, fully agree with all that. You got to have the basics done, and a lot of people are not doing the basics. So much depends on your market. So if you can absolutely nail those basics that you're talking about, if you're in a smaller market, you have a good chance of just being the top, like just being the very top of the market, or no matter what. However, the I will caveat if you're in a large market, very competitive market, the chances are you'll have multiple competitors that are already doing all those basic things plus more. And
Yep.
ultimately it's a winner takes all kind of thing. It's like you got to be one, two, or three in the maps, and you got to be on the first page or ideally in the first 5 results for organic search when it comes to SEO. And if you're not, it's like you're not, and you're not going to get the share of that traffic. So what's that's one thing to take into account. I think it like comes into that part, is part of that decision. I mean, I don't know how, it's not really like, a lot of guys just start where they're currently located, but if you're going to operate in a big city, you're going to then have a different set of marketing expenses and a different set of marketing challenges than somebody that's in a smaller market. Smaller market, small, like less people to serve, but you may be able to completely crush SEO and get a ton of leads with doing very little beyond the basics, right? But then with in a very hot competitive market, like not only do you have to be completely squared away, you also then have to be doing more. And there's lots of ways to do that. You can go through agencies, though there's risks and stuff there, especially if you're smaller. Or and I especially on the small side, looking at just like getting like knowing how to do some of this additional SEO work, like building backlinks and content creation, stuff like that. So there's the roofing SEO school. I think you've been involved with that, right, Scott?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. It's that's a great resource, and guidance for kind of knocking a lot of stuff out yourself. If you are looking for someone to help externally and you're ready for that, based on how big you are, you've kind of done what you can do on your own. Our recommendation is always hook agency for actual SEO services if you're looking to outsource that. Um, okay, I think we got time for one more question here, and we got John Starry in the chat once again with a awesome question here. When it comes to email blasts for your customer base, when do you suggest sending them? There's 2 parts to the question, so we'll focus on the first part first. When do you suggest sending them? Holidays, randomly to ask for referrals? What's the cadence, I think? What are you guys doing, Scott?
We do a weekly newsletter. So um, every single week, we send our entire audience that's opted in a weekly newsletter. And that could have any variation of ad. So it could be a happy holidays, it could be a Merry Christmas, whatever. It could be that, depending on the week. Here recently, we've been running the last like 3 weeks, we've ran different financing little blurbs, I guess, with kind of like a weekly update. Like, here's a few projects we just finished. By the way, we're offering 0% interest for 12 months, same as cash. So we've been working some financing stuff every week to our customers. But every single week we send something. So if we're running a special, like sometimes we'll run like free gutter guards with the purchase of a new roof. We'll throw that in our weekly newsletter. It's good for till the end of the month. We may run that same format of newsletter for those 4 weeks. It'll obviously look a little different, and the verbiage will be a little bit different, but that's what we'll run for 4 weeks. But yeah, so every week we don't. It's free. Well, it's not free, but it's basically free. Mailchimp is very inexpensive for that. And honestly, if we sell like one job a year off of a Mailchimp email, it literally pays for the entire year. So, and we use it like a rehash. I mean, it's sending it to 40 some hundred customers every week. So every week, 40 some hundred people get an email from us. Not all of them open it. Like we get like I think last time I looked, we had like a 60% open rate. So, 20 some hundred people, almost 3,000 people opened that email. So, yeah, I think it's well worth doing on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I love the regular cadence, the like sending on a weekly basis, consistently. Consistency pays off when it comes to any kind of content, and I think email is the same. It's really good to have just a consistent, at minimum once per month, and I would say probably at maximum once a week, because you don't really want to hit people more than once a week. For as a contractor, there's other types of businesses I think you can go higher volume. But you're just trying to stay top of mind over time. I think I've seen a lot of good results in businesses just doing the once a month, but being consistent once a month and putting out highly like value driven stuff. Um, but you can absolutely, I think, get away with that higher cadence, which is going to yield, results, higher results as well, just like staying more top of mind and just being in people's inbox once a week. The main thing I'd add to that is trying to make sure that your emails add value and are not just kind of random. It's like ideally you would be giving something of value away in every single email. It can be, even if that's just a link to a blog post, and it doesn't even have to be a new blog post, it could be an old blog post, just like some piece of content on your site or just something. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most valuable thing in the world. It's more about the intention, and people like the intention of like, even if they don't click on the link, they like just receiving an email. It's like, hey, here's some free information.
Sure.
People are more receptive to that. They're less likely to unsubscribe or be annoyed by it. So, but yeah, Mailchimp is my recommendation. That's what we use here at ProLine for email blast type stuff. The one to many, since ProLine automates the one-to-one communication, but not the one-to-many yet. But we will also have a feature for this in ProLine at some point. It is on the idea board. There's just a lot of other things that are in higher demand that we're prioritizing. But we'll have that at some point, which will be fun. And then we don't have to say Mailchimp anymore. But in the meantime, like you're saying, Scott, Mailchimp is just so inexpensive in general. So,
Yeah.
and you can connect ProLine to Mailchimp, or any of your CRMs are going to be able to be connected through Zapier to Mailchimp and keep that list updated, or you can just periodically export CSVs as well. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys, for the questions. I guess thanks, John. Sorry for the questions. Um, and I appreciate all of you guys, and we'll see everybody next week.